Doubles Pickleball Strategy 305. Develop effective fourth shot strategies. Folks, in this video, I'm going to show you some great fourth shot strategies. A strong four-shot response to your opponent's weak or poorly placed third shot can often close out the rally quickly in your favor. First, let's review the first several shots of the game. The serving team hits the first shot of the game, the serve. The service receiving team hits the second shot of the game, the return of serve shot. It's very important that the player returning the serve gets fully forward alongside his partner before the next shot arrives. After waiting for the ball to bounce, the serving team hits the third shot of the game. The third shot is the return of the return of serve shot. Let's look closely at this third shot because your fourth shot strategy will depend on what your opponent does with the third shot. Let's look at a side view of the third shot. This shot might come over slow and bounce in the kitchen. It might come over slow and bounce just in front of your feet. It might come over a bit high, allowing you to volley it back. It might come over as a fastball drive, or, if you are lucky, the ball might come over high, allowing a put-away shot. Your fourth shot strategy is going to depend on three main things: the position of the ball, the position of your opponents, and the mobility of your opponents. In terms of height, the ball is either going to be low and unattackable, above the knee height and possibly attackable, or above the net and very attackable. Let's look at a number of scenarios. This one is easy and obvious. Your opponent's third shot is high and attackable. Your fourth shot response should be a put-away shot. Watch here. The third shot comes over high. The fourth shot is a put-away. A big mistake is to fault on the put-away. Watch here. Here's the serve, the return of serve. The third shot comes over high. The fourth shot is a put-away. Number 2. Next, your opponent's third shot was a perfect drop shot into the kitchen, and your opponents are tightly linked and very forward. You are dealing with a ball that is both low and close to the net. In other words, it's unattackable. Your fourth shot response should be soft, unattackable, and generally directed cross-court to your opponent's backhand. Watch here. Here's the serve, the return of serve, a great drop shot, and then a sensible, non-attacking fourth shot. Watch again. Here's the serve, the return of serve, a great drop shot, and then a sensible, non-attacking fourth shot. Great drop shots usually prohibit fourth shot aggression. However, if your opponents are not tightly linked, go for the down-the-middle shot. A big mistake is to attack an unattackable drop shot or to leave your fourth shot high, allowing your opponent to attack. Now let's talk about the case where the ball is coming toward your feet, giving you the option to either make a very low volley shot or step back to play the ball at its apex after the bounce. You can't attack with a low volley, but a sharp cross-court four-shot volley can be a winner against a slow-moving opponent who is not very forward. The step-back method lets you take the ball at a higher position that's further away from the net. Now you can make a more aggressive topspin ground stroke, either attacking as shown here, or sending the ball to a tough-to-reach spot as shown here. If you attack, seek to jam your opponent's dominant side. If you don't attack, make sure your fourth shot stays low. Now let's talk about the case where you can volley the ball from middle zone height. This is what I really want to talk about in this video because about half of third shot drop attempts do not land and bounce in the kitchen. Instead, they are a bit deeper, allowing you to volley the ball back. To best pressure your opponent, the shot technique you need to develop is called a roll volley or topspin volley. The topspin allows you to hit the shot with pace because the spin causes the ball to dive low and stay in bounds. Watch here. Here's the serve, the return of serve, a third shot that's a bit high, and then a low to high topspin fourth shot with pace that's tough to scrape up. Watch again. Here's the serve, the return of serve, a third shot that's a bit high, and then a topspin fourth shot that's tough to scrape up. With the roll volley, the net player brushes upward and hits the ball deep with a lot of pace. Good players can make roll volley shots both with the forehand and with the backhand. Let's talk about roll volley technique. A big mistake is to try to brush over the top of the ball. You can do that in ping pong, but you can't do it in pickleball. Instead, you have to hit the ball below the equator. The paddle path and paddle face is upward, not over the top. Try making roll volley shots against a practice wall. Notice that the ball must be contacted below the equator. The paddle face never points downward. Wall practice is a great way to groove the needed paddle path into muscle memory. Watch the pros. Contact is below the equator. A great target spot is right here. Watch here. This target gives even pro players a tough time. Don't invite your opponent forward by hitting a short shot like this. Instead, keep them back, making them scrape up shots that are low and deep. Now let's talk about shots that can be effective against opponents with poor mobility. Always be aware of where your return of serve shot lands. If it lands deep, your opponent will have to play the shot from behind the baseline. If he has crept into the court prematurely, he may have to back up to hit the third shot. In both cases, especially if your opponent has low mobility, a soft dink or drop shot will likely be a winner. There are many techniques, but here's a simple one. With a stiff arm, just hold the paddle out like this, slightly pointing upward, and let the ball just bounce off the paddle face. Let's talk about how to deal with third shot drives. If you can return the serve here to this player's backhand, you can likely avoid receiving a third shot drive. If this guy poaches over to take it as a forehand, place your fourth shot here. If this guy moves over to take it as a forehand, place your fourth shot here. It's better to leave your blocking shot short and dead than allowing a poach. Now let's talk about the most important thing, avoiding mistakes. Just like with the return of serve shot, if you fault with the fourth shot, it results in an easy, automatic point for your opponent. So, as a first priority, you must avoid faulting by going into the net or out of bounds. Fourth shot errors are almost always unforced errors, often from trying to do too much. The next thing to avoid is giving your opponent an attack opportunity. So above all else discussed in this video, the fourth shot needs to be kept in play, and it needs to be soft enough that it bounces before your opponent can hit it. So avoiding disaster is your first priority. To increase awareness, count your fourth shot faults and try to drive this number towards 0. Good luck, and thanks for watching.